We are celebrating with all of Bucs Nation the arrival of Ronde Barber as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2023. About damn time.
You are Locked On Buccaneers, your daily Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to the Locked On Bucs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We are your daily podcast covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, free and available on all platforms, including YouTube and the 10 Tampa Bay Plus app, which you can find on your Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. And we thank you for making us your first listen or view of the day. I am James Yarcho, deputy editor of SB Nation's BucsNation.com, joined by my esteemed co-host, Mr. David Harrison. You can find him over at Sports Illustrated's BucsGameDay.com. And, of course, follow everything on Twitter at Locked On Bucs, at JYarcho_Bucs, and at DHarrison82.
And thanks again for making the Locked On Bucs podcast your first listen, your first view of the day. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of the National Football League. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. That's /LockedOn. Do it today to get started. Donna Kelsey's favorite son is going to win another Super Bowl title this weekend. We're going to tell you who that is. And we're also going to share our favorite Ronde Barber moments following the announcement that he is headed to the Pro Football Hall of Fame this fall. If you have a favorite Ronde Barber moment, or if you have a Ronde Barber shout out or just reaction to his making the Pro Football Hall of Fame, drop it in the comments. We will share as many as we can. Keep them clean. This show is rated PG or PG-13 sometimes. But before we do all that, James, early Thursday evening, we were messaging back and forth as we do. I was sending zingers your way. You were crying behind the screen and accepting them the way that you have to. And I told you that I had a good feeling that Ronde Barber chances of making it into the Hall of Fame were pretty solid this year, and those feelings proved to be correct. For the record, you didn't dispel those confidences, but those confidences turned out to be correct. So I want to start this episode, obviously, from the Locked On Bucs podcast. Congratulations to Ronde Barber, one of the greatest defense backs to ever play the game, revolutionized the game. But what were and what are your thoughts when you were watching the announcement Thursday night? And now that we're on this end of things, what do you think about Barber joining Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, and John Lynch in football immortality?
Well, my thoughts throughout the evening were, number one, this honor show is terrible. Damar Hamlin appearance aside, that was an incredible moment. It was very emotional. It was beautifully done with the training crew and of the Bengals and Bills. And then, of course, the staff there from the UC Medical Center. That was beautiful. Kelly Clarkson was a terrible host. The song parodies were awful. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, can we get to the Hall of Fame? Can we get to the Hall of Fame? This stuff always leaks. And of course, this is the one time that everybody is tight-lipped and we're not getting anything out of this. So it was an agonizing couple of hours waiting for the announcement. But I wasn't as confident as early in the night as you were when you and I were talking. But when I saw Derek Brooks posing for a photo in his gold jacket at the NFL honors, I started to think it's happening. Why else would Derek Brooks be there in his gold jacket if he was not going to be announcing Ronde Barber? So I started to get a good feeling there. And just, yeah, as we said in the intro, it's about damn time. You know, Ronde Barber is one of the best to ever do it. You and I broke it down on an episode that he revolutionized a position that is now considered a starter. And not only did he revolutionize that position, but he was so versatile. He played inside corner, outside corner. He played safety for a few years. He did things that no other cornerback in the history of football ever did. And it's so nice that the committee finally recognized how great of a player Ronde Barber truly was. As Scott Smith said when you had him as a guest on Thursday's episode, that the kind of the blowback that we've heard is that he's a system corner. No, he is the system, because Ronde Barber was just, he was next level, phenomenal. And it's great that he's getting his rightfully earned place in Canton, Ohio.
No, I mean it absolutely is, and I went back to that interview with Scott Smith as well, and we talked about kind of what are the reasons that Ronde gets held out of the Hall, and as you mentioned, Scott talking about him being a system corner. But what I really liked from that answer wasn't even so much the words in it, which I mean the words alone were very, very solid and obviously very true, but the passion behind it, right? I mean that's really what it kind of, because this is a guy, Scott Smith, who's been through a lot of players, a lot of roster turnover, a lot of guys have come and they've gone, and he's seen a lot of coaches come and go, GMs, all of it. But this is someone that stuck out in his mind amongst them all. And he said on the show, it's his favorite Buccaneer. He's my favorite Buccaneer. He's a lot of people's favorite Buccaneer. I mean, in fact, that's some of the things that make him such a great Buccaneer, or some things that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But I mean, sort of relief, right? But I mean, honestly, man, like as soon as the relief kind of went away, it's like, okay, finally it's over. Now we can stop year in, year out going, okay, is this going to be the year that Ronde gets in? Excitement, man. And then I woke up this morning. I don't know if I woke up right away to it, but this morning you messaged me like Locked On Bucs going to Canton. I said, yeah, like Locked On Bucs is going to Canton, man. We're going to Canton, Ohio. We're going to go see Ronde Barber get enshrined in the National Football or the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I assume Derek's going to be there. Warren's going to be there. John's going to be there. A lot more other people are going to be there. And we're going to do our best to get as many quips and quotes and moments with those guys to kind of share in that moment, because I mean, the greatest defense in the National Football League history. No bias, getting its fourth member into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And like Demon Hunter said, you know what, we're going to celebrate this, but now it's time to turn and focus on number 5, maybe Simeon Rice. Let's see if maybe we can get some momentum going there. I don't have a lot of high feelings. I judge by your face. You don't either. But you know what? There's nothing that's not worth trying. Real quick, shout out to Demon Hunter. Shout out to Richard. Shout out to everybody joining us here for this live. And, of course, also everybody who's joining us post-live in the recording or on audio. We appreciate all of you as well. Going to get into some memories, James, of Mr. Barber. We've got some comments coming through into the live chat to share as well.
Yeah, we will get into that conversation about who the next one is. I mean, we were both real high on the Simeon Rice to Canton train, and I think that ship has sailed. I don't think there's a chance he gets in now, but we will discuss that, as well as our favorite moments of Ronde Barber's career and some of yours, if you want to drop those in the comments here on this live episode of Locked On Bucs. Today's episode of Locked On Bucs is brought to you by Blue Nile. Valentine's Day is coming, which means romance is in the air more than usual. And I don't need to tell all you lovebirds that. You've probably had your date plans on the calendar for weeks. At least if you were smart, you've had them on the calendar for weeks. But have you found the perfect Valentine's Day gift yet? Whether you're celebrating this day of romance or whether you're ready to pop the question, you can find jewelry as unique as she is with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can find the perfect piece of jewelry for life's special moments, or even create the custom engagement ring of her dreams. Their simple online tools let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as the setting style, and Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft that perfect piece to your specifications. Blue Nile's diamond price guarantee allows you to compare a competitor's diamond against one of theirs, and Blue Nile can even meet or beat their price. Every order is insured and arrives quickly in a discreet package that won't give away what's inside. Shipping is free, and so are returns. Right now, you can save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com for up to 50% off. BlueNile.com. This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On, because they are the #1 sportsbook in America, FanDuel. And if you are new to FanDuel, that is even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/locked-on to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. It's FanDuel.com/locked-on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Bucs podcast first listen or your first view every single day, especially when we're live here on Friday afternoon, evening, depending on which time zone you're in. We appreciate all of you coming through. We're celebrating the selection of Ronde Barber into the 2023 class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, finally getting it right. And of course, now we're going to dive into our bag of memories, James. And of course, we got to start with the all-time greatest, right? Ronde Barber shutting down the vet, helping to ruin the homecoming or the home opener the next season of the new stadium, and just remind all Eagles fans, even though they're celebrating their team competing for a Super Bowl this weekend. Look, you're just playing catch up, guys. I mean, the Bucs already have their second Lombardi. You're trying to just, you're just trying to mimic Big Brother. That's really all there is to it. So enjoy your cheesesteaks. Anyway, I actually like cheesesteaks, so I can't really say anything bad. Oh, by the way, Ronde Barber shutting down the vet and helping ruin the homecoming or the home opener for the next stadium. Super Bowl win, sandwiched in between. No big deal. Whatever, just stacking memories. But James, beyond that, what is your favorite or best Ronde Barber memory from his time with the Buccaneers?
So my memory is actually tied to my experience while watching it. So there was a little locally owned restaurant that my dad and I used to go to watch Buccaneers games. We didn't have DirecTV and Direct Ticket at the time. So we would go to this place called Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers. And we would eat food, watch the game. It was always a great time. And for whatever reason, my dad was busy or tied up doing something. And so I go to this place by myself to watch the Buccaneers take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And here comes Ronde Barber with a pick six off of Donovan McNabb, who's over on the sideline puking his guts out because they're wearing those dark green jerseys in the middle of like 103-degree weather. And so I'm all amped and I'm excited. And then comes the second pick six from Ronde Barber. And I start yelling. I'm in the middle of a restaurant. And I'm yelling, "Go Ronde, go Ronde, go Ronde." And there was a table next to me that I overheard one guy go, "Is this dude seriously screaming and cheering for a replay?" And I looked over, I said, "That's no replay, dude. That's Ronde." And they looked up and they were like, oh, that is actually, he's got two? And I'm like, yeah, he's got two because Ronde Barber is that dude. And everybody remembers that game for the Matt Bryant 62-yard field goal to win it. But I remember it as literally jumping up and down next to my table, screaming for Ronde to go score his second touchdown of the game, and people thinking that I was cheering an instant replay. So that is one of my absolute favorite memories of Ronde Barber.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, Richard in the live chat shared that exact same memory. Well, not that exact same memory because he wasn't in the exact same place as you, obviously, but that game and those memories. And of course, I mean, 3 interceptions against the New Orleans Saints. Look, some of my greatest memories, Ronde Barber, one of the reasons he was always one of my favorite Buccaneers, and my favorite Buccaneer is because of his longevity, right? We talk about all the time, the best ability is availability, and Ronde was exactly that. His career record started in his 42nd game. And I mean, that alone, the streak starting, and then the 200th game that he had comes against the Carolina Panthers in a win, the 215th career or straight start for Ronde Barber, which is still the most by a cornerback or a defensive back in the National Football League, comes against the Atlanta Falcons, which, oh, by the way, was the first game of the streak as well. So start of the streak, 200th game of the streak, 215th, which is still the record today, all against NFC South opponents, 2 against the Falcons, 1 against Panthers, all of them wins, because that's just what Ronde Barber does to rivals or people who want to be rivals, as he just shows you why you can't be a rival. So That's a great memory. I'm glad you went personal with it because I actually have a follow-up memory and it's personal. And I don't want to be the only selfish person here because you know what? Every little bit of celebration is a little bit personal and therefore a little bit selfish. James, so because Ronde Barber is my favorite Buck of all time, I actually got an autographed Buccaneers football autographed by Ronde Barber from a very good friend of mine, my mentor in the Army. And then I had the great fortune of actually being on hand for Ronde Barber's Ring of Honor press conference, which I wasn't even aware. When I went to Tampa for that stretch of time, I didn't even know that press conference was actually happening during that stretch of time. I get there. That was an amazing surprise. Shout out to the Pewter Report guys who kind of helped me kind of get to where I needed to go in the building. I'd never been in that part of One Buck by then, so they kind of helped lead me in there. And then as fate would have it, the game that he actually went into the Ring of Honor, I was able to make it down to Tampa and cover that game in person. So the reason that I got, well, not the reason I got into sports media, but the reason I started covering the Buccaneers in sports media, Ronde Barber. There was an opportunity to join a site, right, for about 7 different teams. They told me to pick one. The one I knew the most about was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why? Because of Ronde Barber and that defense. I started watching it with them. As you guys know, who have been listening to us a long time, I'm not a true NFL fan. I don't have a true single NFL favorite team because my favorite team is in Germany, and that's just how I was raised. And I don't know. Don't blame me. Blame my father. But the Buccaneers defense, they're in the late 90s, obviously the early 2000s, one of the greatest things I ever saw. Ronde Barber, my favorite player there, started writing about the Buccaneers because of that knowledge. And then all those years later, I get to be there when he's going to the Ring of Honor for the press conference. And again, as our plans stand, we will be there in Canton to see him go into the Hall of Fame. So the reason I'm here today talking to all of you and talking to Mr. Yarcho is Ronde Barber. So, I mean, that's to me, that's the greatest memory that I could possibly have of the great Ronde Barber. But James, unfortunately, there is a part of this conversation that we do have to talk about that hopefully doesn't tarnish things for people. But we know there was quite a delay in Ronde getting into the Hall of Fame. Does that matter now that we're here? Now that Ronde is going in, does that matter still? And does the fact that there's 2 DBs going in this class? So we know the National Football, or I keep saying that NFL, Pro Football Hall of Fame doesn't like putting 2 DBs in a single class. In fact, this class with both Darrelle Revis and Ronde Barber, just the 4th class since 2000 that will have multiple DBs going into it. That's how little they like doing this. Does it tarnish this at all that they've decided to put 2 DBs in this time, with Ronde being one of them?
Absolutely not. At the end of the day, yeah, you want to have that first ballot next to your name, but as long as you end up with the bronze bust and the gold jacket, all that matters is that you have been recognized for the greatness that you showed on the football field. And for a lot of these guys, they showed greatness off of the football field as well. So no, it doesn't tarnish anything that Ronde Barber wasn't a first ballot guy. It doesn't tarnish anything that his brief teammate Darrelle Revis is going in with him. In fact, that might make it even a little bit more special that he and Revis, although they only spent 1 season together, they were teammates, and now they get to share this experience with each other. And as Derek Brooks said when he knocked on the door, they're teammates forever now. And so getting to share that with Revis, I think is even more special. And the fact that, and that was our concern when we talked about the finalists, right? That, at least my concern was they're only going to let one of these guys in because they don't like putting in multiple players from the same positions when it's not a slam dunk, especially in the secondary. So my concern was Revis was going to be the first ballot guy and Ronde was going to have to wait again. Instead, they were like, you know what? Both of these guys deserve to get in. Both of these guys deserve to be enshrined. And we're going to put them in together. And I think that's fantastic. Darrelle Revis is well deserving, as is Ronde, as is, the entire class. It's a great class. Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware. It's a wonderful class for Ronde to be a part of. And yeah, the wait at the end of the day means nothing because he's there, period.
Yeah. I mean, to me, look, Joe Thomas was the only slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I'm not mad that Darrelle is in. Like you said, like Richard said, hey, 2 Bucs DBs going into the Hall of Fame. Can't be mad at that.
That's right. Well, there are some potential Hall of Fame players playing this Sunday, and we'll tell you whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles that will be hoisting another Lombardi by the time Super Bowl 57 comes to an end on this live episode of Locked On Bucs. And this episode of Locked On Bucs is brought to you by TurboTax. Go to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Meet with an expert who will do them for you. TurboTax experts can relieve you from the stress of taxes and file for you so you can do not taxes. Show your eyes things that are not taxes, like, I don't know, Ronde Barber highlights. Unpack a moving box of not taxes. Taste not taxes. Sing not taxes a lullaby. Hope not taxes sleeps through the night. Grab a saddle and ride not taxes into the sunset. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring your taxes are done right, guaranteed. So you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Intuit TurboTax. Full service products only. Video meeting while expert does your taxes required. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Wrapping things up here on a live edition of the Locked On Bucs podcast. We've celebrated Ronde Barber. We've talked a little bit about Darrelle Revis, but it's time to shift the focus to the big game. Everyone's going to be watching the Super Bowl unless you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan and you're still angry and bitter and frustrated. And if so,
watch it anyway.
Yeah, get over it. Saints fans got over it on the non-pass interference call against the Rams, and you're going to watch it. What else is there to do? But Super Bowl 57 predictions, all odds provided by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join us in the action by signing up at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Shout out to the homie Carrie, who just signed up today so she can drop a no sweat first bet on her beloved Philadelphia Eagles, who, by the way, are favored to win by 1.5 points currently. But before we get into our picks, let's do this last game week the right way. David, let's talk bold predictions. What is yours for Super Bowl 57?
Well, we're talking about some anomalies, right? For only the fourth time since 2000 that the Pro Football Hall of Fame is going to be enshrining two DBs in the same class. Well, there hasn't been a running back Super Bowl MVP since Super Bowl 32. Now, I don't know how quick you are at math, but that's a long time.
It is.
That's a lot of years. It's a lot of Super Bowls. Terrell Davis is the last Super Bowl MVP running back. Lots of receivers, lots of quarterbacks, a couple of linebackers, right? But really no running backs. This game, #1 rushing rushing offense in the National Football League. I feel like this is a game where a running back could become the Super Bowl MVP, but not just from the Eagles side. I mean, you got Pacheco over there, and there's a very big opportunity, I think, in this game. And I think it would be beautiful because it's a passing league, and it's always been a passing league. And, Patrick Mahomes is supposedly the next great quarterback and the baby goat on the Madden cover and all these other things. Let's get a running back as a Super Bowl MVP. Let's do that.
I like that you made that prediction this time, because if you guys scroll all the way back to our predictions for Super Bowl 55, I predicted that Leonard Fournette would be the first running back Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis. Didn't work out. He had a good game, didn't have an MVP game. But I like it. I think it's fun, and I'm a big Miles Sanders fan. So if he got it, I would be really, really excited for him. My bold prediction: there will be 0 turnovers in this game. Usually when you're watching the Super Bowl, there is like that moment where a defense steps up and takes the ball away, and it could seal a game. It could turn the tide of a game. Both of these offenses are so good and so incredible. I think they are going to do a phenomenal job of protecting the football, which I think benefits all of us, because if they're protecting the football and they're moving the football, we will probably be getting a very high scoring game, and it'll be exciting and it'll be fun. But I think as good as the Philadelphia Eagles defense especially is, I I think both teams are going to come out of this unscathed. So it will absolutely come down to which offense can will their team to victory, because there won't be any of those drastic mistakes made.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Demon Hunter in the live chat says that Jason Kelsey's going to surrender 2 sacks, and that if a running back wins Super Bowl MVP, it's going to be Mr. Pacheco. Speaking of which, single game parlays with our friends over at FanDuel, and yes, we have real money put on these single game parlays, so we're not just spewing things to you guys. We also have our own resources on the line. I've got anytime touchdowns, and I've got 5 of them, which means I think this is going to be a fairly solid scoring game. Travis Kelce, Miles Sanders, potential Super Bowl MVP. A.J. Brown, Isaiah Pacheco, potential Super Bowl MVP. And Kadarius Toney will all score touchdowns in Super Bowl 57, giving you odds of plus 15,976. So if you want to put $100 on that bad boy, you might win 16,000. If you do, my tips are open. I don't know how you're going to tip me, but my tips are open. Just let me know, and I'll let you know how you can tip me. I think I have about $10 on that, so that shows you how confident I am in that. But I mean, look, you don't get plus 15,000 odds for nothing. You got to go bold here, guys, and that's what I've got there. I just threw in the Kadarius Toney one, obviously. Just as I want to see Giants fans cry when Kadarius scores in the Super Bowl.
And you want to see Brandon Olson, host of Locked On Gators, celebrate.
I like when Brandon celebrates. It's always fun when Brandon Olson is celebrating, especially when he's had some celebratory help.
And our buddy Joshua Gardner. Yeah, he was real big on Kadarius Toney in the pre-draft process. He was always asking us questions about him and what we thought the fit was.
Let's get some Gator love here because we're not going to get much of it during the rest of the offseason.
We
call
that a teaser.
Just kidding.
All right. My same game parlay. I literally put this one together as you and I were getting ready to come on the air. This is my 4th same game parlay for this game. And so I have gone Eagles money line. Spoiler alert. I'm taking the Eagles to win. Over 50.5 points. Anytime touchdowns from Devonta Smith and Juju Smith-Schuster. And then I have Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, both over 1.5 touchdown passes. The odds are not as high as David's. This is at a plus 34.52. So $10 bet will win you $345.29. I do have one. I mentioned it on WTSP Wednesday. I do have a parlay that would pay out over $27,000. If you guys want that one, let me know. Crazy. I will share it, but it's big. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
it's not past tense. It's intense.
Yes. All right. Game predictions. I've already.
Wait.
Oh,
Demon Hunter says, bad James. No, sir. You made the naughty list.
What did I do?
I think it's because you went Eagles money line. Yeah. He or she, Demon Hunter. I don't know.
Yeah. They did say that they
said 38-27 KC. So I don't know if you're a demon now, but if you are, I mean, you might want to watch out because the Winchester's coming for you.
I'm having a lot of fun with the parlays. I do have some parlays where I have Kansas City winning the money line, but I think the Eagles win this game, man.
So you're a hypocrite.
I
would never do multiple parlays with both teams winning. Yes, I would.
Yes, you would, because you probably already have.
I have. I absolutely have.
We call that hedging.
Yeah, especially when you have free bets.
I mean, exactly.
We don't just sell the free bets, guys. We use the free bets. Those free bets are pretty fun.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun. If they're throwing a free bet in my account, I'm going big. Thus, why I have one that could pay out $27,000. And you guys will know if you follow me on Twitter if I'm winning that one, because I will be doing all kinds of celebrating on there. David, the Eagles are favored by 1.5 points. You actually early in the season, when I told you I felt like the Eagles were not for real, I thought they were kind of a mirage. You sat there and told me, like, no, I have watched this team because of my Commanders coverage. They are the absolute real deal. And I mean, for those in the chat who still hate the Eagles, just remember, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, that means that your guy Ndamukong Suh gets another ring. So there is a silver lining there for those of you that still hate the Eagles. I don't really like either team. But David,
it also means the Bucs got to win another Super Bowl because they can't let little brother pass them up. So
True that.
Eagles tie, then you got to go get another one. I mean, that's just what has to be done.
We don't make the rules.
I've seen the Philadelphia Eagles live twice this season. They won one of those games. They lost one of those games. In fact, it's the loss is actually the only loss Jalen Hurts has suffered in 13, 14. It was some amazing number of games.
Since
Jalen
he
Hurts
lost to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But the Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The Philadelphia Eagles defensive line has over 50 sacks this season, which is insane. And then Hassan Reddick just casually dumps another 15 on there. And Kazir White throws 7 more, and they've got 70-something sacks combined. But the Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I mean, it's hard to bet. The Philadelphia Eagles have the best secondary that the Chiefs have seen all season long. But the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, which is why the Eagles are winning 27-25. I'm sorry, guys. The Eagles are going to win this thing 27-25. By the way, I have a Super Bowl. I already threw fake goat Mahomes up there. I don't know why you're obsessed with that comment.
I didn't know that.
I have a Super Bowl square bet on FanDuel for the Eagles score to end in 27. Chiefs score to end, or not, so 27 and 7. Chiefs score to end in 5. 27-25 is the score. It's going to be a late game touchdown by Miles Sanders, who will be the Super Bowl MVP, and they're going to miss the extra point, giving everybody a last-minute Patrick Mahomes opportunity to get into game-winning field goal distance, because why wouldn't a Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl come down to a missed extra point and a potential game-winning field goal, all before big play Slay slams the door in Phoenix? That's how that's going to happen. Donna Kelsey's favorite son, Jason, is going to get his second ring, which means the Bucs are going to win one again soon because they have to stay ahead of the Eagles. So everybody will rejoice.
I like all of that. Obviously, you all know that I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I am taking them to win 31-27. I think it's going to be a really fun game. It's going to be an exciting game. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. This isn't going to be one of those situations where the Eagles are up 31-13 and all of a sudden, the Chiefs essentially get 2 garbage time touchdowns. It's not going to be something that the score is closer than the game was. No, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I will say I'm already sick and tired of seeing I can't remember what Twitter account it was, but they straight up said that if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win this Super Bowl, he's already the GOAT, surpassing Tom Brady. Not really sure how that's possible, but I'm already sick of that nonsense. So as much as people don't like the Eagles, I'm kind of hoping they really just end that conversation quickly. And that means that Patrick Mahomes would have a losing record in the Super Bowl. He would have lost 2 straight. And I don't know, maybe Ndamukong Suh's given a couple of tips on how to make him rush for 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage in a game where they just continue to bludgeon him over and over and over. Also,
I want to talk about this obsession the NFL has of trying to force Patrick Mahomes to be the next Tom Brady. Not tonight, obviously, but Tuesday's episode, segment 3. So if any Bucs fans don't really care about my rant about it, that's fine. But I want to talk about this.
Bonus points. Also, if the Eagles win this, we don't have to see any videos of Patrick Mahomes' wife or brother. Again, I think that's reason enough to root for the Philadelphia Eagles. And with that, we are going to get out of here. We want to thank you for making Locked On Bucs your first listen or view of the day. And thank you to all of you that joined in the live stream, joined in the chat, shared your memories with Ronde Barber, and put me on the naughty list. I'm sorry. But make sure you subscribe to the Locked On NFL podcast and get daily conversations on the biggest NFL stories, plus in-depth analysis on the biggest games with NFL key predictions every Friday. And Monday, local insiders cover the weekend with game-to-game episodes. Locked On NFL available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back with a mock draft Monday episode coming up on Monday. So if you have your own mock drafts that you'd like to submit to us, of course, you could do so by sending them to lockedonbuckspodcast@gmail.com or send them to us in the DMs on Twitter at Locked On Bucs. Check out everything David is doing over at BucsGameDay.com. Check out my work over at BucsNation.com. And of course, follow everything on Twitter at Locked On Bucs, at JYarcho_Bucs, and at DHarrison82. Hope you all have an absolutely outstanding weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, fire the cannons. And once again, congratulations to Ronde Barber, Hall of Fame class of 2023. We thank you so much for joining us right here at Locked On Bucs.